This right here, oh my god, garlic jasmine mixed with this mutty is this 100 ml? Let me just check because I don't want to be talking out of my arse. Alright ladies, the time has come to finally talk about date night fragrances. These are all in my opinion very seductive, alluring. If you're going on a date with whoever, if you're going to go for a new date night, whether that's somebody you've been out with for a long time, whether you're married, whether you're not married, I think these are all amazing fragrances. Or even if you're going out with the girls or with your friends in general, then I think these would be absolutely lovely nighttime fragrances. So these are all going to go on you compliments. They're absolutely wonderful, and yeah, I really hope that you ladies enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll just jump straight into the video. So the first fragrance that I have is a masterpiece. I've talked about it so many times on my channel. By the way, I am going to be talking about all sorts of different new fragrances that maybe I haven't covered on the channel before, so it will be a little bit of a longer video. Hopefully I won't ramble too much, but this one is just absolutely amazing. You can't go wrong with this fragrance. Rouge Malachite from Armani. The best way that I always describe this, it's almost like a greener, spicier version of Alien, because it does have that tuberose, jasmine, white floral ambriness going on in the fragrance. There has been a new release from Xerjoff called Quattro Pizzi. It's in this white bottle. It also is very heavy on tuberose, and I think those two fragrances are actually really similar to each other. Tuberose has so many different facets, right? It can go like buttery, it can go banana-esque, can go very indolic as well. This to me is just the perfect mixture of everything. It does have that slight tropical banana feel, but then also has this buttery indolic vibe to the fragrance. On top of that, you also have sage, clary sage, which I think adds this other level of greenness, but without it being like a typical green fragrance. Almost like this slight herbaceousness to the fragrance. You also have pepper in this as well, which gives it a slight spice and lift. And on top of all of that, you also have amber in the base, and the amber just gives this sticky, seductive sweetness to the fragrance. It's absolutely a femme fatale. This is really gorgeous. Every time that I've worn this, I've always garnered compliments, and to be honest, I haven't really smelled anything quite like this before. As I said, I mean, there is that new release from Xerjoff, but other than that, there are hardly any fragrances that smell quite as good as this. And even the oil concentration, you can tell that this is quite a high oil content, considering that it is a designer fragrance. So yeah, if you ladies have never tried this before, I would 100,000,000% recommend giving this a go. So that is Rouge Malachite from Armani. As you ladies know, one of my most favourite houses of all time, Ormond Jane OJ, and this is called Arabesque. Now, I was really lucky that they sent me a full bottle of this, because the sample that I had, I literally ran through it. It was like water to me. I was spraying it all the time, and it's a really wonderful fragrance. If you guys have never tried this before, I know a lot of ladies really love this. In fact, out of all of the Ormond Jane fragrances, I think this is probably one of the most popular fragrances, maybe alongside Levant and maybe Taif. But apart from that, this is, oh my god. This is almost, right, hear me out, because I feel like I'm going to describe this fragrance perfectly. If you've ever tried Cairo from Penhaligon's and Oud Ispahan from Dior, it's like the two had a baby. This to me is a very jammy rose, almost like a Damascus rose, very rich pink. It's not a vintage rose at all, which I really enjoy. It's more towards the jammy side. And then on top of that, in the top, you have saffron, you have some fruity notes as well. And the saffron gives this really sweet, almost feminine type of spice in the beginning. And I tend to find saffron and rose, especially like a jammy rose paired together, is like heaven. I mean, we can only see Cairo as an example. Only main difference being is that you have this really smooth resinous oud in the base alongside a white musk. So this, out of all of the Ormond Jane fragrances, I would say is probably one of the best performers. Only a few sprays, and this will last you literally all night, all evening into night. It has a really great projection as well, so if anyone is coming close to you, hugging you, you know, cuddling you, then I think this would be a wonderful fragrance. And what I really love as well is with the white musk, it almost almost gives this slight freshness to the fragrance. I tend to find sometimes with ouds they can be quite heavy, whereas this one is definitely still light and fluffy. So ladies, if you haven't ever tried this fragrance, definitely give it a go. I do have a discount code which gives you 10% off, which I think in the grand scheme of things is like a decent amount off. UK girls, that would be equivalent to maybe like £20 off, and for any US viewers probably around $25–30 off, which I think is quite good. And the bottle is just beautiful. I don't know if you can see that, just it looks like a diamond just with the way it's being faceted and stuff. So yeah, if you guys have never tried Arabesque, definitely give it a go. So the next fragrance that I have is one that I've never talked about on the channel, which I think is really weird. I don't know why I've never included it, and it is a really affordable fragrance. You can get it for a very decent discount. This one's called The Only One from Dolce & Gabbana. In fact, most of the One line from Dolce & Gabbana is really beautiful. They're like ambery, vanilla. They're just really gorgeous fragrances. This one I think is probably my favorite. The only pet peeve that I have with this fragrance, it doesn't last or project very much, but if you do have like one of those vials or even just like an empty sample that you can use, then obviously you can take it out with you when you're going out. This one is like the love child of Ylang and Gold from Micallef and Alien from Mugler. And the reason why I say that is because it has a really big white floral mid, so it has like jasmine, tuberose, and it almost goes to that indolic banana-like vibe. So similar to what we were talking about with Rouge Malachite, it almost has like this tropical feel to the fragrance, which I think is really, really beautiful. What makes it really unique is that in the top you have a bit of apple, which gives again like a slight fruitiness to the fragrance, adds a bit of zinc to it, makes it a little bit more different. And then in the base it's just like a simple vanilla ambery base, but the combination of everything, I think it smells super feminine. Again, goes into that slight tropical type of vibe without it smelling sunscreeny or literally like you're on holiday. So just the overall note structure of this is really beautiful. You have the florals, you have the fruitiness in the top, and then you have the amberiness and the vanilla in the bottom. It's a really gorgeous fragrance, and as I said, I think it's super feminine too. So if you've never tried it, ladies, definitely give it a go, because for the price, I think that this is a really fantastic fragrance. So from Dolce & Gabbana, The Only One. Now moving on to a fragrance that I chat about loads, and the reason why I do is because every single person that has smelt this understands my addiction with this fragrance. So for any ladies who are into jasmine or white floral fragrances, but who also like a slight gourmand take on a fragrance, who like a little bit of sweetness, this right here, oh my god. I mean, I've been wearing this like a crazy woman, and you know, when I initially smelt this fragrance, I actually smelt it from the Scent City. They sent me the sample of it. I do have a link to their website if you do want to have a sample of it just to see how it smells like. And wow, as soon as I smelt it, I thought, no, I need to buy this bottle ASAP. This was a lover first sniff for me. So this has jasmine, leather, and nougat. Almost leaning a little bit bubblegummy type of jasmine, which I think is really beautiful. So if you like Portrayal from Amouage, then I think you'd really enjoy this. And then on top of that, you have nougat, which as a sweet treat is really, really nice. It almost has like this nutty, milky, lactonic type of vibe going on in this sweet treat. So imagine, right, indolic jasmine mixed with this this milky lactonic type of nougat note, with a bit of nuttiness as well. And then in the base, what just makes it 10 out of 10 for me is the leather. The leather in here is a very smooth suede-like leather, and I know a lot of you ladies really love leather in your fragrances. I think it tends to just give a slight androgynous vibe to the fragrance, but without it going away from its femininity, if that makes any sense. And on top of it, it almost has like this ambery, sticky sweetness in the bottom, and I don't know whether that's coming from the nougat note. I don't know whether that's the jasmine. I'm pretty sure they must have added like amber or some type of resin in the base of this fragrance. Overall, I just think it's absolutely wonderful. As I said, if you do really like Portrayal from Amouage, and if you want something a bit darker, then I think you'd really enjoy this fragrance. And to be fair, for the oil concentration and the quality, it is expensive, but I think it's definitely worth the money. Luckily, I got this secondhand from another person who I follow on Instagram for many years, and it was just a really random coincidence that I bought it from him. But yeah, if you guys have never tried this fragrance, definitely give it a go, especially for the ladies who like something a bit more unique smelling. So that's Ghibli from Elake. So following the leather theme, this is another fragrance that I've talked about loads on this channel, and I don't really care because I always am the type of person where if I genuinely really enjoy a fragrance, I'm going to shout about it. I'm going to, even if it's, you know, redundant in many people's eyes, I'm still going to talk about it, because there's no point in me suggesting or recommending a fragrance that I don't actually love. You know, I see a lot of people recommending such random fragrances, and I don't know whether they actually love them or not, whereas this one, wow. I mean, you'll see the dent that I have in this bottle, and I haven't even had it for that long. So this is called Cuir Grenat from L'Artisan Parfumer. In general, L'Artisan Parfumer have amazing fragrances, especially for women, but this one is definitely my favorite. So this is a suede leather mixed with raspberry. It's a very simplistic type of fragrance, but it's done so well. And when the perfumer was actually coming up with this fragrance, he was talking about the difference between light and darkness, and he wanted to get the contrast of the two in one fragrance, and I think he's done it so well. You have the fruity sweetness of the raspberry on top, which is very jammy and very tangy. And then you have this really smooth, almost musky type of leather in the base, but it's not an animalic leather. It's more like literally loafers that you've just bought out of the box. It has that very new leather-like smell to it. It's really, really beautiful. You know, I think it leans very unisex. I think both men and women can wear it. But the reason why I think it's particularly nice on a woman is because, especially during the nighttime, when you've just freshly sprayed this, whether you have it in a vial or in a sample, burst of fruitiness from the raspberry in the top. And I think that raspberry note is just so sexy, and then mixed with this like really smooth leather. It's just a really wonderful fragrance. It lasts for ages. This is probably my partner's favorite fragrance on me, which is really rare. I mean, he literally never ever compliments. Well, he does compliment me. Don't get me wrong, ladies. Like, he will say, oh, Pika, you smell really beautiful. You smell really nice. And, you know, he'll give me a bit of a cuddle. But with this one, he's always said to me, Pika, I think this is your fragrance. And literally, it just smells like me. Maybe because, you know, the lightness and the darkness really suits me very well. But, you know, it's just really beautifully balanced. If you ladies really like fruity, leathery type of fragrances, then I think you'd really enjoy this. So that is Cuir Grenat from L'Artisan Parfumer. Oh, I'm going out of breath from all of these fragrances. This is a bit of a longer video for me. So, God, which one do I do next? I think, I mean, we can't really go wrong with this one. This is Noir de Noir from Tom Ford. Damn, this thing, wow. I mean, talk about a masterpiece of a fragrance. This thing, I don't care what anybody says about Tom Ford. I know a lot of their newest releases are a bit skew with, and they have been really hiked up in price recently, which I don't think is fair at all. Having said that though, like the older line, this one, and the other private lines, you know, you can't really get anything close to this. This is absolutely amazing, and I'm really glad that I have the older version of this. So this is the older batch. It is running very, very low, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm hoping if I do ever rebuy it, I'll just get like an older batch if they have reformulated it. I don't know whether that's a fact or not, by the way, guys. I'm just saying, if it is a case they've reformulated, I will try to get like an older batch of this fragrance. So Noir de Noir, if you ladies have never tried it before, definitely try it, especially if you're into gourmand fragrances, but again, you don't want to smell cakey. This is a wonderful alternative. This is rose mixed with red wine and dark chocolate. That is the best way that I can describe it. If you like Coco Noir from Chanel, if you like that very dark, almost chypre type of vibe in a fragrance, then I think you'd really enjoy this. This is a little bit more of a gourmand version of Coco Noir from Chanel. So the reason why I think it smells like red wine to me is it almost has like this balsamicness going on, but with it being very jammy. And the jamminess is definitely coming from the rose in this fragrance. It's not a vintage rose, it's not an airy rose, it's just a really rich, jammy rose. It's like the rose has been macerating in red wine for days. That's the best way that I can describe this. And then in the base, you have a very chocolatey type of vibe. And I don't know whether it actually has chocolate, maybe it might have cacao, but typically any fragrances that have patchouli, sometimes patchouli can go a little bit chocolatey, and I think that is what's happening in this fragrance. The patchouli mixed with woods is making it smell very chocolatey, but it's not like a milk chocolate, it's not a white chocolate. This is a very rich, dark, almost like 80 or 90% type of chocolate bar, if you know what I mean. This is just really elegant, very boozy, super beautiful. I've had loads of compliments of this one. Even my partner, who typically doesn't like gourmand fragrances, he really enjoys this on me. He always compliments me and says I smell really nice. So again, for any ladies who are into darker, just leaning a little bit boozy type of fragrances, then I think you'd really enjoy this. And as I said, if you can get your hands on an older bottle, like whether that's secondhand or whether that's from another fragrance friend, then I'd definitely recommend that. So Noir de Noir from Tom Ford. Ooh, and now we're on to the last one, finally, but definitely not least, we have Iris Malika from Chopard. Again, I've talked about this one loads, but I think it's a really nice fragrance, and you can get it for a decent discount. I think for 100ml, is this 100ml? Let me just check because I don't want to be talking out of my farm. 100ml. Yeah, so this is 100ml, and I reckon in the UK you can get it for like 70 or 80 pounds. Maybe in the US you can get it for 90 or $100, depending on obviously who the distributor is, what shop you're buying it from. But this is a really wonderful fragrance. So any ladies, hear me out, like La Nuit Trésor from Lancôme, this is a really great alternative. So it's almost like, this sounds really weird, but Alien from Mugler, which I've talked about loads in this video, and which I should have really included, but I think because so many people know that fragrance, I just thought it'd be a bit redundant talking about that one. So it's like Alien and La Nuit Trésor had a baby. This one I've talked about isn't super unique. It's quite generic smelling, but it's mass appealing in the right ways. This has black currant in the top, some other fruity like red fruit, some dark fruits like blackberry. It's really juicy and tart in the beginning, and then in the mid you have a really lovely iris note, which is from the name Iris Malika. And I've talked about iris before, but it almost leans into that powdery lipsticky type of vibe. So this isn't so much into the buttery nutty realm that iris or iris can go into. This is more leaning into that lipsticky, powdery type of realm. You might also have some other white florals in here, which gives it a little bit of like an indolic type of vibe. And then towards the end, it's just a simple ambery woody base. And that's why I said it kind of reminds me of Alien, because it has that ambery indolic vibe, which is the iris mixed with the amber and woods. Alongside that, obviously you have the fruits in the top. So just the combination of the two is really classy. It's sweet, it's seductive, it's alluring. So this, especially on a date night, would be absolutely amazing. The longevity is decent, I would say, and the projection is like, it makes a really nice scent bubble around you. It's not a super beastly fragrance, but it will last you throughout the evening and night. And I just think for the price, this is one of the best designer fragrances that you can get. As I said, it is a little bit mass appealing, so definitely try it before you buy it. Never ever just blind buy a bottle, guys. Even on my recommendations, definitely sample it if you can. So yeah, if you ladies have never tried Iris Malika from Chopard, would definitely recommend that you give it a go, especially for any lovers of, as I said, La Nuit Trésor or Alien. So guys, that is it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed. I thought of doing like a little bit of a longer list rather than a shorter one this time, just to give you guys a few more options. And I will hopefully be doing a London vlog soon. I'm going to go down to see my friends this Friday, which is just crazy, and I'm going to be in London for about 5 days or so. So I'm hoping to take a bit of footage there. So if you ladies like coming along with me, then definitely keep tuned. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I will catch you guys soon. Bye guys.